How would you like to do some better marketing with a better tool? What would Hemingway suggest to improve your pricing? What would Sherlock Holmes suggest to improve your pricing? What would Lance Armstrong suggest for improving your pricing? Hi, I'm Rick Griggs, and I want to talk to you more about your marketing and how you can add a little bit of creativity into that mix of those 4 P's of product, pricing, placement, and promotion. We're going to use a tool called Rolestorming. We came up with a few years ago. I'm going to give you a little bit of the history, some of the books we've done where we started mentioning this tool, but Rolestorming takes the idea of role-playing and brainstorming and puts the two of them together. And it's amazing what happens when you ask people in your organization to play a role and then focus that role on something that's important for the organization. In this case, it just might be your product pricing. So let me back up a little bit, take you through a little bit of a publishing history, and then reconnect that to our Rolestorming talk today. We did a book years ago called Quality at Work. Wrote this with Diana Bonet. She sat in on a quality course I was teaching and thought her publisher might be really interested. She was right. They published the book and it sold consistently, meaning it backlisted for about 25 years. First book, we put the idea of Rolestorming in a little section here many years ago. The publisher asked me if I would do a follow-up book called Personal Wellness, and when a publisher asks you to do a book, you have to say yes. So did a book on personal wellness, all the while just gaining some information on how humans react individually, how they react within your organization, how your customers might do some reacting. My first hardcover book was called Professional Balance, where I opened up with my theory of balanced mastery. Then did a book with J. Mitchell Perry called The Road to Optimism, and a little book called Bridges to Balance. How do you balance your life and achieve your goals? Took about 9 months to write this, but the follow-up on teams took about 3 years or so to write this one called Triumph in Teams. This includes Napoleon, and it did win a first place book award. But all that to say, a whole lot of work looking at gaining information about human beings and how they make decisions, how they live their lives. And maybe that'll have an effect with this Rolestorming tool on the pricing within your organization. How can you add pricing creativity? Is there something you can do? We want to give you this tool called Rolestorming to take a look, maybe find out. And you'll see that this process takes the fun up, the fear down, and the focus out. Let's go have some fun with this. What would Judge Judy say about your pricing? What would Babe Ruth say? What would Van Gogh say about your pricing? In this section, we're looking at how you price your products. We covered a little bit on the product itself and how you can use Rolestorming to deal with that part of your marketing mix. The second part is pricing, and it's one of the critical factors. It's the one that you can manipulate the most, is what they say. So why not take a little time to get real creative with your pricing and use a tool that's gone all over the world and proven itself to do a slightly better, in some cases a much better job than the traditional brainstorming. And as we've said before, brainstorming came out of the advertising and marketing industry with Alex Osborne at BBDO. And from the start, it had some issues where people just got a little self-conscious. People got turned in on themselves and they shut down. So with Rolestorming, we've shown that we can double the number of ideas for helping you with your opportunities, with your preventions, with your problems in marketing. We can double the number of ideas from traditional brainstorming by going into Rolestorming. So with our pricing, we've got several versions, several types of pricing strategies, but think of it this way. If you took the strategy you've been using for pricing and asked your team what would a certain personality, what would a certain role think about or suggest or call into action for this part of our pricing issue, imagine the number of ideas, the different ideas, how people who on your team, maybe you personally, you're kind of self-conscious about throwing ideas, especially around pricing, okay? It's the core of, income generation. What I'm going to say is this. Give people some cover. Give people something to not quite hide behind, but as a little bit of a shield. Have them play a role and answer some of the critical questions about your pricing. Have you been pricing too low? Have you been doing too much discounting? Should you consider a little more premium pricing where your price goes up and stays high? Should you consider starting high and dropping that skimming pricing? What should you do next? Maybe some of that psychological pricing, it would be worth having those three, kind of a lower, middle, and higher price. Like you're going to buy some ice cream and one brand is low priced, another one is medium, and another one is high priced. When people don't know the field or exactly the quality, people tend to go for the middle, that psychological pricing. So we'll say this. We suggested in another video that the roles you pick come from three different categories. They come from the saint, the sinner, or the winner. So you pick someone to play the whole team maybe plays the role of a saint for one round. Maybe the Lady Di, maybe Katharine Hepburn, maybe Mother Teresa. They play that role and they come up with ideas from that role about this portion of your pricing issues. And then the next round you have them play a center role. Play a bad guy, play a villain in one of the movies, play a Voldemort, play maybe a Bernie Madoff, maybe somebody who's still locked up, for really doing something dastardly. It's interesting what that does. That opens up portions of the brain that would not normally be open. And a lot of people cringe at playing the center role. They love to play the saint role, but then the center role. But that does amazing things. And when we facilitate, we will bring the roles with us, and you'll see that some of those center roles that we have your people play will be critical in cracking the code for some part of your pricing issue. And then finally, the winner role. These are the people who are always doing great things, and whether they're good or bad, they're always winning, they're always achieving. That's their big focus in life. So kind of the Elon Musk's plural, the Steve Jobs of the world, the Richard Bransons, all kinds of role models in that category. And what it does is it stretches our imagination. It stretches our brains into those three different directions or categories: the saint, the sinner, and the winner. So what we've got in the videos so far on your product and your pricing is that we start out with that quid novi, that what's new statement. We've got a statement that directs the team. it directs us into, are we looking at an opportunity? Are we looking at a prevention? Or are we going to just solve a problem with today's Rolestorming session? So taking a look, a quick review at some of the pricing options around marketing, the marketing mix and pricing your product. We've got volume on the x-axis, and we've got price up here going from low to high, and then low to high volume. One of the pricing strategies is called skimming. It's where you start with a very high price, and because there's not a lot of other competition, you can start at a high price, and as time goes by, bring the price down to a lower price when there are other people involved, other competitors involved. So skimming. You might also try the technique of penetration pricing. That's when you start with an artificially low price and just kind of get your foot in the door. And then as time goes by, you can take that price up a bit. Another one, and I'll just change colors here. Another one is called everyday low pricing, where it's just always the same low price. That's the brand of the store. You can probably think of a few right now. There's another one that if I say Apple computer, you'll know what kind of pricing I'm talking about. We'll just call that one premium pricing. It's where they go with a high price, high volume. It doesn't matter what happens, but it stays up kind of in the upper right hand side. High price, high volume, and it still stays a high price. There's some other pricing options, just to mention a couple. One is called psychological. I think that's a great, I think it's a great one to kind of take a quick look at. It's where you hear about pricing at $1.99 or $3.55, and you think, does that really make a difference? Because I just rounded up to $2 or $3.50. I just gotta go up to almost $2 on both of those, really. But they say it does make a whole lot of difference. So there's some psychology in pricing that can be a strategy. In fact, they say, like, if you're gonna offer 3 different versions, 3 different prices, a low, medium, and high, people who don't have a lot of information about the product or the service or the offering, they're gonna go for the middle price. It's like offering, sometimes you offer a fee to a client and give them the 3 pricing, and quite often you'll see that middle price is the one that's selected. That's psychological pricing, and good to know all of them. But now the question is, where can our Rolestorming, our role-playing and brainstorming together, where can we do the most good by taking our brains to another realm, to another role, so to speak? I think there might be a lot of potential here. But on any one of these, if we ask what would so-and-so do with our product and trying to price it properly so we survive, so we thrive, so we make good profit, good fair profit, playing that role, coming up with ideas, opportunities, preventions, or problem solving, we're going to do well by using something that takes us out of our own heads. What would Bob Marley say about your pricing. What would Columbus say about your pricing? What would Napoleon suggest to improve your branding?